What's going on, guys? Welcome to the Gridiron podcast. Today, I am your host, Michael, as Nick could not make it today as he is under the weather, unfortunately. But today, we're going to be talking about week number 5, and I'm going to be giving my thoughts and opinions about the teams that, the games that happened this weekend and the winners and losers of this past week, as well as looking ahead into week 6. So, without further ado, let's get into it. So, first game first, starting off was a Thursday night thriller. We got the Tampa Bay Buccaneers versus the Atlanta Falcons. And I just want to first off start by saying that Thursday night football has not really been a great thing for me to look forward to just because of the games that the NFL puts on Thursday night. It's kind of like who cares? But yeah, this one was an absolute thriller. Tampa Bay loses 36-30 in overtime. I mean, couldn't ask for a better game if you wanted like an offensive game here. Um, my first couple thoughts here is Tampa Bay's defense. I know I've talked about this before, but it's really struggling here. It looks just not physical, old. I mean, just it's not the same team as we once saw. It's not the same Buccaneers defense as, a couple years ago. I know Todd Bowles is a great coach, but yeah, the defense just doesn't look good. I mean, Baker played a pretty solid game, except Bucky Irving with that crucial fumble can't happen there. Kirk Cousins, though, able to drive down the field, get a game tying field goal, and later win it in overtime, which I think for them solidifies themselves as for me, it was that this team, it was a hit or miss, but then they turned up against the Eagles, won it with a few seconds left again, and they do it here again in overtime. Kirk Cousins leading this team to a victory. So I think it was a pretty important game for the Falcons and Kirk Cousins especially, just because I didn't really know what this team's identity was, if they're really like a contending team or if they're kind of like a 50-50 team, but I think this really does it for me, and considering them to be a good team, which I kinda knew going into the season they would be. But yeah, so the Falcons, definitely big game here, and, Tampa Bay, just they gotta fix some stuff up on defense. But going into the, second game here that I have, I'm gonna talk about the Green Bay Packers. Uh, I think Green Bay playing against the Rams, I thought that this would be a comfortable win to say the least, but the first half by the Packers was just atrocious. I mean, Jordan Love didn't really play the greatest in the first half, in my opinion. I mean, he did have that nice completion of Jaden Reed, but on the flip side, though, he's definitely had his moments of too much YOLO. He's been throwing it kind of reckless this season. I'm not exactly sure why. If it's the trust in the receivers, if it's just the offensive line. But the pick six was kind of unlucky because afterwards, Jordan Love did say he was not trying to throw it to Tucker Kraft there. But the Rams defender made a nice play and picked him off. But it was nice to see the Packers bounce back after the second half, and come out, score 2 touchdowns right off the rip, as well as still continuing the turnover game, which has really improved, this team as a whole. I mean, Xavier McKinney, 5 interceptions in 5 games. Kingsley Enagbare with a nice fumble today, forced fumble. So, once again, the turnovers really turned this game around. It was a crucial moment, pivotal moments. So without So since the Packers were able to create turnovers, it really made this game kinda more comfortable, and the whole Romeo Dobbs situation too, I wanna talk about really quick. I'm not really sure what happened there and why he kind of acted out, but, it's sad to see that, but, I hope the Packers get that figured out and we'll see him in the next game because I think they definitely need him here. But yeah, the next game is another NFC North game, Vikings versus Jets. This one was in London, I believe. Yeah, I mean, not too much to take away. I guess Sam Darnold, I mean, got the job done. He did have a couple bad turnovers. the Jets, Aaron Rodgers, in my opinion, the Jets just look flat. I mean, they need another receiver. They cannot keep going out there with Garrett Wilson, Mike Williams, who's been okay. I mean, he hasn't been Mike Williams on the Chargers. Um, but yeah, they need to go out there. Maybe they get Davante Adams from the Raiders, but they need another receiver. And also Aaron Rodgers too, kind of looking flat. I mean, there are a couple throws where it's like, yeah, there's Aaron Rodgers, but he's not really moving the same. I don't know. He's just not playing the same way as, obviously is as he is pushing 40, if he's not already 40. But yeah, I mean, Jets kinda just need another weapon on offense. I mean, Vikings got the job done. It's a close game, but Vikings are 5-0 now, and we'll go into the other NFC North game here, the Bears and the Panthers. This was another important game, I think, even though it was the Panthers that the Bears are playing. Um, Caleb Williams had a pretty good game. It was nice to see that, I guess, even though I am a Packer fan. He had a nice couple throws to DJ Moore. DeAndre Swift touched the end zone. I mean, they were just all over the Panthers, and the defense did what they, expected to do, shut down the Panthers offense. Yeah, it was a blowout. This game was not close. It should have been expected. But it was a good win for the Bears overall, and Caleb Williams, I think, needed this game more importantly. But if you're on the flip side on the Panthers, I just don't know what you do here. I mean, Andy Dalton's kind of came back to life or came down to earth, sorry. And they did throw in Bryce Young, and he had a couple nice throws, but it's like, what are you gonna do? The situation is a mess there. So the next thriller, I mean, we got the Baltimore Ravens and the Cincinnati Bengals. I mean, this one was an absolute shootout. Joe Burrow played a really good game. Lamar Jackson played a really good game. Um, yeah, I mean, another tough loss for the Bengals just because you put up 38 points and you still lose. Definitely that defense again just needs to kind of get better, clean up some stuff. I mean, they're just not the same defense, which is tough to say. Even on the Ravens, allowing 38 points is, kind of crazy. Um, but it was a good game overall, though. I mean, it was just a good offensive game. It was a really intense game, but sucks for Evan McPherson missing that field goal. Can't have those crucial mistakes. But that was a really good game. Uh, but going into the next game, the Bills and the Texans, this one was also a good game. I mean, I really kind of thought the Bills would come out a lot stronger just because of their loss to the Ravens. But Josh Allen, 9 of 30, just kind of shows that they also need another receiver. I mean, Khalil Shakir was not in this game, but yeah, Josh Allen needs a weapon, even though you don't want that, wide receiver one, as he kind of threw a quote unquote dig to Stephon Diggs, no pun intended. Um, yeah, 9 of 30 against a weak Texans secondary. I mean, you do need another receiver there to help Josh Allen if you really want to be serious about going to the Super Bowl, if not just deep in the playoffs. So maybe you are in the market for Davante Adams if you are the Bills, but yeah, they definitely need another receiver. And CJ Stroud, I mean, played a pretty solid game. This Texans offense has kind of been lackluster lately to me. I mean, not really what I expected, 23 points, and I believe they beat the Jaguars last week 24-20. They've been playing some tight games. They are getting the win though, that's most important, but a little lackluster to me. And like, is this team really that dominant as some say coming into the season with Stephon Diggs? So I know that there was no Joe Mixon, but even still, I think the air game could have carried them to a bigger win here. But I guess we'll see going forward as they do have a pretty good opponent next week. Oh, excuse me, they do not have a good opponent. They play the Patriots. I thought got the games mixed up. But going into the next game, we got another shootout, kind of the Colts and the Jaguars. This was a good game. I mean, because you have a couple of interesting situations here. You have the Jaguars who, just got their first win. Um, Trevor Lawrence looked pretty solid. I mean, this team was struggling on offense like crazy. To put up 37 points, it's about time you like to see that, even though it did come down to the wire. But on the flip side, though, this is very interesting situation because Joe Flacco, this dude has been in the league for like 18 years now. He can still ball. He can still ball. I mean, this guy is putting up 34 points. He can still play solid as a quarterback. I mean, clearly, he threw for 359, 3 touchdowns. I mean, do you go back to Anthony Richardson here if you are the Indianapolis Colts? Richardson, yes, is a young player. They're still trying to develop him, but Joe Flacco could be a real quarterback here just to get them at least competing in the season. I mean, I know once Richardson's healthy, they'll most likely play him, but Joe Flacco is doing way better than Richardson, in my opinion. I mean, this guy can be on my team any day of the week. I mean, he's incredible for his age. I mean, it's unbelievable. In my opinion, I don't know what the Colts should do. If depending how serious they are about winning, I'd go with Joe Flacco. If they're not and they're, going to develop their young quarterback, then yeah, they'll go the Richardson route. But Joe Flacco can still ball. That's what I'm saying. Um, Another game about quarterbacks, Dolphins and the Patriots. Just an absolute snooze fest of a game. It's unfortunate Tua's out still. Um, Nothing really to talk about here. Just a Jacoby Brissett versus Tyler Huntley, kind of a boring game. 15-10 win for the Dolphins. Both teams are coming back down to earth. I mean, obviously the Dolphins without a quarterback, but yeah, the Patriots are back down to earth. There's just not much to talk about with that game, to be honest. I mean, it is what it is. But this game, there's a lot to talk about too, as we have the Cleveland Browns versus the Washington Commanders. Now, for me, this was a huge game for the Commanders. I, coming into this week, was like, okay, they're playing a pretty good defense finally. Because some, said that, oh, the Commanders haven't played a good defense yet. Jaden Daniels hasn't played a good defense yet. This was a good test, and he crushed it. Absolutely crushed it. I mean, it was a great win for the Commanders, but a terrible loss for the Browns. I don't know where you go if you're the Cleveland Browns. I mean, do you go with the Jameis Winston route and just I mean, you paid Deshaun Watson so much money, you can't really bench him at this point. But if you're the coach, you're also talking about your job on the line. So, do you go down with this Watson situation or do you throw in Winston and try to win? I mean, this offensive line is terrible. I don't know what Watson can really do, but it's not like Watson's really that good anyways. It's just a terrible situation for the Browns to be in, especially for me. I didn't really think they would be in the situation coming into the season. I thought they would be a competing team, looking into the playoffs, if not sneaking a wild card spot. But yeah, it's just a really bad look when Sean Watson's walking off the field and kind of giving up on this team. As as frustration as he can be, um, it's just not acceptable. I mean, yeah, it's not a good look. You're a 1-4 team now, and you're staring down the barrel. I mean, it's not going to get prettier from here. Um, but yeah, next game we got the Vegas Raiders and the Denver Broncos, and another mediocre game, divisional game. Vegas, I will never understand this team. They are the definition of average. I mean, one week they're beating the Ravens. The next week they put up some points against the Panthers. I mean, in my opinion, I was like, there's no way that they're gonna lose to the Denver Broncos. Bo Nix here can barely, even though he's been cooking lately, um, yeah, they suck. I mean, this week of games and, like, touchdowns has been absurd. I mean, I'm looking at the Vegas game, they go up 7-0 quick, I'm thinking that, this is good, 10-0, and then all of a sudden I see Gardner Minshew throw a 100-yard pick six, and it's going the other way, and I'm like, "This is not happening." I mean, Gardner Minshew yeah, he had his moments in the NFL, but man, he is not good for this Vegas team. This Vegas team is actually, like, in trouble just as a whole. I mean, obviously, Davante Adams, he wants to leave. Um, Now potentially Max Crosby, which would be huge. Um, but yeah, there's just no good in this Vegas team, unfortunately. It's just a bad organization right now. There's nothing really to play for. Yeah, it's really not good. So, on the flip side, if you're the Denver Broncos, I mean, you got a win here, which is great. I mean, Bo Nix is starting to play better. You're above 500 too, so maybe there's upside here for Bo Nix. Um, but yeah, another game that is very interesting was the New York Giants and the Seattle Seahawks. I don't understand this one. I don't understand it. Giants without Malik Neighbors, and Seattle still loses. I mean, I don't know what the Seahawks team is. I'm still trying to figure out their identity because they are like the definition of also mediocrity. I think they have a good defense with the pieces they have, and their offense and Geno Smith just cannot put it together. They cannot score points. I don't know what it is. Um, but losing to the Giants here, that's a big loss. I mean, that is a really bad loss. Um, but if you're the Giants, though, I mean, you're happy about this victory. I mean, it was a good win for them. Um, Daniel Jones played a solid game, had a pair of touchdowns, but again, Seattle just trying to figure out what they are and what this team can be. Because I think they do have a lot of upside, but they just can't be this mediocre. But going into the next surprise game, the Arizona Cardinals versus the San Francisco 49ers. Cardinals won this one 24-23. I honestly thought they had no chance to come back. Being down 23-10 at halftime, San Francisco's at home. I mean, I don't I don't know what you're doing if you're Kyle Shanahan, or the Niners as a whole, getting shut out in the second half. I know Jake Moody got injured, which sucks, but how do you get shut out in the second half? I know Mason fumbled toward the end there, which was a crucial fumble, but even still, 2 quarters without scoring. That's just so un-49er like. It's kinda crazy that they're losing these games in the way they are. Like, 2 weeks ago, they played the Rams, they lost that game. Now they lose to the Cardinals, which is another divisional game, so they're 0-2 in the division, which is not good, especially when it's coming down to tiebreakers and potential. I mean, I don't think they'll be in that much trouble. I think they'll still make the playoffs, but, I thought also too that this was a show-out week for Brandon Ayuk. He played great. I thought he finally came to life here, and, this was gonna be a dominant performance from the Niners, but not at all. I mean, the Cardinals' defense is atrocious, but they somehow got it done. I mean, Kyler Murray played really well in this game, although he did have that pick to Nick Bosa. Uh, yeah, I mean, they got the job done. It's just unbelievable to think about, if you're a Niner fan this week. They're just dropping these games unexpectedly, which is what I kind of expected going into the season, that they are not the same Niners team, but I knew they're gonna have losses here and there, but the way they're losing is just so unlike 49ers. It's kind of unbelievable to me to say. But the last game of the week, we have the Dallas Cowboys and the Pittsburgh Steelers, as this one was delayed. Cowboys win 20-17 with a last second thriller. Um, yeah, if you're the Steelers, this is also another question that I have. Do you start looking at Russell Wilson now? Because this is 2 weeks in a row. Justin Fields, he threw for, I believe, 130 yards or 60 yards, 130 yards in this game with a pair of touchdowns, but it's just not enough. I mean, 17 points against a Cowboys defense that hasn't been necessarily the greatest lately. Um, yeah, so maybe the Steelers start looking at I was about to say Russell Westbrook, Russell Wilson, or they also could be in the market for a receiver too, but I don't know how likely that is to happen. Because you got George Pickens, who has also been a questionable player as his effort level has been terrible. I mean, I watched him run a route, but it was more so him walking or jogging. I don't know what that was. Yeah, he's there's something going on in Pittsburgh. I'm not sure what's going on there. Um, but on the flip side, good win for the Cowboys. I mean, it was Dak Prescott was able to get the job done last seconds, got the touchdown to Tolbert. This was a much needed win for the Cowboys, but yeah, they get the job done. So I think quickly before I go into the into next week's schedule, um, winners and losers of this week, my top three winners, put number one. I think you got to put the Commanders. I think that this was a good test for them, and they definitely showed out. They show that they are pretty legit. I guess they'll have a spoiler alert this coming week against the Ravens. Will be a good test for them. But number two, I got to say the Giants. I mean, it was a huge win to go into Seattle and beat them without Malik Neighbors. Um, Daniel Jones played solid. It's just a good win to have. As you don't fall to 2-4, I believe they would have been, or 2-3, sorry. But yeah, I think the third team you got to put in there for winning. I gotta say the Bears. I mean, I think Caleb Williams just played really well, despite it was against the Panthers. But I think that they just showed out this game, and they showed what they could be. DJ Moore had a great game. So I think the Bears, Commanders, and Giants definitely were the three teams from this week that won. For me, at least, you can even add the Cardinals, but those were my teams. I got to go to the losers now. Number one spot, definitely got to put the Niners. I mean, like I already talked about, the way they're losing, it's just not like them. Dropping these games, these divisional games too. It's not good for them. Number two spot, I think I would have to go with maybe the Panthers. Maybe the Panthers, I would say. Looking at every game here, I think the Panthers, just because, as an organization, they're not in a great spot. They tried Andy Dalton. It's just like, where do you go from here? They don't have a good defense. There's nothing really to play for in this Carolina organization right now. But going into my number three loser of the week, it's definitely got to be Vegas. I mean, this team's about to blow up. Davante is going to be gone. Max Crosby potentially gone. Gardner Minshew's not it. Not a good quarterback. Can't lead this team to wins. I mean, this team is just below average. They'll win a game here, they'll win a game there. It's just so inconsistent. It's unpredictable for them. But yeah, those are my top three losers of the week as well. But yeah, guys, before I also go into next week's schedule, stay tuned for the shorts. I know I've been on that. It's going to be coming out soon here. You know how school can be. And but yeah, stay tuned for that because shorts will be coming out. But yeah, without further ado, let's get into week number 6, and we'll close it out after that. So Thursday night football, another divisional game. We got the 49ers and the Seahawks. This is a must win for the 49ers. They cannot go 0-3 in the division. They must win this game. For that reason, I'm taking the 49ers, and also because the Seahawks did not look good against the Giants. But this is a must win for the Niners, period. There's no way they lose this. Going into Sunday, we have the Cardinals against the Packers, not biased here. I think the Packers defense is just on another level right now of turnovers. I think they'll maybe get a pick, a fumble from Kyler, but not to discredit Marvin Harrison. That dude is super talented. Um, yeah, I think the Packers should win this one pretty comfortably, maybe by a touchdown, if not 10. But hopefully Jordan Love also plays better and we get Romeo back. Um, yeah, hopefully we can also get the run game because this Cardinals D line has not been the greatest. But yeah, the Packers should win without a problem here. As we also got Jacksonville and Chicago early in the morning. Forgot that this was also a London game or somewhere else. I don't know. But this is another kind of must win for the Bears, I guess you could say, in this like 3 game stretch before their bye. Um, yeah, I mean, even though Trevor Lawrence put up 37 points, I think that this Bears defense will give him some trouble. And, I don't really believe in the Jaguars just yet. Um, so for that reason, I see the Bears winning this one. But I think Caleb Williams, this is another important game. You can really show out. I don't think this Jaguars defense is any good whatsoever, especially in the secondary. So for that reason, I got the Bears. But yeah, it'll be a very interesting game. Just like I said, the Commanders, they got the Ravens. This will be a really good test for the Commanders. I do think that the Ravens secondary isn't the greatest. Obviously, as shown against the Bengals last week. So for that reason, I still think the Ravens get the job done offensively, but I think this will be a pretty good game. It's not a blowout. I think it'll be close, which is what many people may not think. So for that reason, I do have the Ravens, but we'll see what the Commanders do in Jaden Daniels. I'm really interested for this game, to be honest. Next game is a divisional game. This one's pretty huge. I actually completely forgot to cover last night's game, which was the Saints and the Chiefs. I'll quickly do that right now. Um, it wasn't even close. Just being honest, it was not close. I mean, the Chiefs absolutely dominated on the total yards. It was like 460 to, I believe, 200. Even though Derek Carr did go out with an oblique injury, which is not good. Um, yeah, they were not. It wasn't really close. I mean, Derek Carr was kind of just throwing the ball like all around the field, which is kind of nuts. Did hit that Rashid Shaheed 43-yard touchdown, but yeah, the Chiefs, even though they're not offensively dominant anymore, they are shifting into this defensive, transformation, which is, just what they need to do to win. I mean, even though Patrick Mahomes, he will make that play to get you, a win, or whenever you need a big play, he'll make it. Um, so even though the Chiefs aren't that sexy, show off team anymore, they just do things efficiently to win football games, which is, I think, what Patrick Mahomes is all about now, is winning, not about flashy stuff. Um, so Juju had a pretty good game. He had like 7 receptions for a buck 30, which I don't think will happen again. But he did have a good game, and the one interception that did happen bounced right off his hands or something like that off a slant route, tipped up in the air. But yeah, if you're the Saints, I don't really know what happened here. The first 2 weeks, you were looking like the most shocking team in the NFL, and you fall off 3 weeks later, and you're going, "Holy crap, this might be a train disaster." I mean, this might be an absolute disaster. So that's how fast things can really turn in the NFL. I mean, especially now that Derek Carr's injured. I don't know where you go from here. So I guess this game is kind of going to be easier than expected because depending with Derek Carr's status, which I don't really believe he'll play in this game. Um, so I got the Buccaneers, but yeah, not good for the Saints right now. As you start off 2-0, looking dominant, but then things just turn around. Houston and the Patriots. I mean, yeah, Houston should win this game. Patriots just are the Patriots right now. Interesting thing I will say is, when are we gonna see Drake May? I mean, Jacoby Brissett's kinda just been not enough. So, I kinda wanna see what they'll do with Drake May sitting over there. The Texans, should get this one done, though. Cleveland and the Eagles. Eagles are coming off a bye week, and the Browns are in such a disaster shell right now that, this will probably be a disaster too for them. I think it'll be a blowout. Um, yeah, there's not much to say there for the Browns and Deshaun Watson. But, for the Colts and Titans, I mean, the Titans are coming off a bye week, but I do think if the Colts, if they roll with Joe Flacco, I think that they'll win this game pretty hands down, pretty easily. Um, yeah, I mean, it'll be interesting to see what they do there, but I think Joe Flacco and the Colts will get it done. But if Richardson, I don't know the status of his injury at the moment, um, but yeah, I think the Colts get it done. Chargers and the Broncos. The Chargers are coming off a bye week here. I think the Chargers do get. I mean, I think the Chargers do get this one done. I think they should. I think they are better than the Broncos. I think the defense is a little bit better. Um, it may actually cause Bo Nix some trouble. So hopefully they can get the job done there. We get the Steelers and the Raiders. I mean, I think that this would be a very important game if Justin Fields is playing. Bounce back game. I think definitely needs this one. Needs to show out. Needs to throw for 200 yards, if not more. Um, yeah, I think I got the Steelers here, but if you're the Raiders, what are you gonna do if you lose this game? I mean, it's gonna blow up regardless. So I got the Steelers for that one. I got the Falcons and the Panthers. Yeah, I got the Falcons. Just don't see a world where the Panthers compete in this game. The Falcons are looking really good right now. Even though that defense is a little weak, but I think Andy Dalton or Bryce Young, whoever's starting, it'll do the job. This will be a good game. You got the Lions coming off a bye week against the Dallas Cowboys. Now, as much as I want to say that, Dallas is not the same Dallas team as, the defense, I got the Lions in this one. I do think coming off a bye week is important, but, this is a big time game for Dak Prescott and the Cowboys. They kind of do need to show out a bit. This will be a good game, and I'm looking forward to this one, and I'm sure Nick is too if he's watching this one. Go Lions, man, for you. But yeah, I got the Detroit Lions. Sunday Night Football, got the Bengals and the Giants. I mean, I got the Bengals. Uh, After last week, I think maybe Joe Burrow and company's back. I mean, definitely on offense. I think Giants defense won't be enough to stop them. I mean, we'll see about that Bengals offensive line if they can stop the pressure. But yeah, I think I got the Bengals pretty comfortably here in a two-score game at least, hopefully. But yeah, we'll see. As the Giants right now are only 3.5 favorites, so they're predicting it to be pretty close. But Monday Night Football, we got the Bills and the Jets. Um, yeah, I got the Bills. This will be a huge bounce back game as they're 0-2 in their last games. Um, yeah, Josh Allen needs to show out. Bills need to get something going on offense. Uh, Jets, I just don't have any faith really in Aaron Rodgers right now. He just, like I said, he's not looking the same. This team's kind of a mess. But for that reason, yeah, I got the Bills. But quickly before I close out, want to quickly talk on the Davante Adams situation because it's obviously blowing up right now and where's he going to go. Um, I'm going to name some teams that I think he should go to versus where he shouldn't. This is just my personal opinion. The first team I think he should go to is a team like the Buffalo Bills or the Baltimore Ravens, just because those teams are serious contenders, and I think the Bills are like that one piece away from, being a real strong contender, and he could be that. Like I said, the Bills don't have a receiver one, which Josh Allen said he liked, but at the same time, 9 for 30 is not gonna cut it on some games. So Davante Adams could definitely help out there. For the Ravens, I think again, they don't have that receiver one necessarily, even though Zay Flowers is considered it. I think Adams definitely could take over there. Zay Flowers slide down to a two. Could be a lethal combo. And obviously Lamar Jackson, even though he might ball hog sometimes, but at least you're winning, which I think Adams wants to do, I guess, while also showing out. But here's what you don't want to do, in my opinion. You don't want to go to the New York Jets, even though there are so many reports about it. Just because Aaron Rodgers, like I said, is not the same Aaron Rodgers, even though you're buddies with him. But what if in the next couple years, if not after this season, Aaron Rodgers just retires? I mean, what if he just retires? Then you're left in a situation where, you're not what if the Jets just blow it up? I mean, then you're stuck all over again in like a Vegas situation. But yeah, you want to go somewhere where there's kind of guaranteed money too, like the Bills or the Ravens. I mean, the Jets, go there, be a rental. I mean, is it really worth it? I mean, when you're going to be, let's just say, even if the Jets do make it, you're going to be like a one and done team. So is it really worth it? I don't think so. But yeah, those are my thoughts about the Davante Adams situation. I mean, it is very interesting to say the least. I'm interested to see where he goes. A sneaky team, this is just my opinion. Um, what if the Commanders? I mean, even though I don't think they will, it would be so cool if they did try and take a shot. I mean, who knows? But yeah, guys, without further ado, I mean, that'll do it for this episode. I appreciate you guys listening as always. Recapping last week, the winners and losers, and the schedule for this coming week of the NFL. I'm super excited for these games. I'm sure Nick will be too, and I can't wait till Nick and I get back together so we can bounce ideas off of each other. This was very interesting doing two solo shows. So yeah, guys, please do like, comment, and subscribe if you guys are new. We appreciate you guys listening and showing us support. We love doing what we're doing. But yeah, guys, till next episode.